Noticeably missing from today's show, the International Applause Championships, 47 contestants with very sore hands and one confused adjudicator. The Secret Life of Parrots, in which we discover why exotic birds always look so damn smug. And Can You Trust a Wizard with a Clipboard, a groundbreaking investigation that nobody requested but that everyone is gagging to read the results of. This is Love, Actually.
Broadcasting from the Broadway Radio Theatre, where even the ticket stubs are suspicious, it's Love, Actually. Featuring Ellie Jade, Neville Montague, the Genie of the Lava Lamp, and the enigmatic Ophelia Zodiac. Alongside them, a cavalcade of other performers who've given up entirely on their dignity. And now, stepping forward like he owns your eardrums, it's the man who has forever stopped saying, "Mirror, mirror on the wall," Mr. Brian Luff.
Welcome, sensation seekers, to Love Actually, the only podcast that once lost an argument with a traffic cone. Today's designated emotion is curious unease, because nothing sharpens the senses quite like feeling uncertain about absolutely everything. And the warning label on this week's episode is content may cause unnecessary concern about relatively trivial matters. Always read the label.
Thank you for calling Luff Actually. Your call is important to us. If your knapsack just started talking to you, press 1. If your mortal soul is trapped in limbo, press 2. If you are the person who invented the tiny piano, press 3. For everything else, please hold. You are number 129 in the queue.
Coming up at the end of the show, another brand new song from our house band Sonny Keys and the Flat Notes. Their difficult second album is due to be released next month. But let's kick this show off right now with Before They Were Them, in which I read out 3 previous jobs that a famous person once had, and you have to tell me who that famous person is. These are the jobs: hospital porter, ice cream seller, and mortuary attendant. Who was that? The answer coming up at the end of the show. In the meantime, Gus the Sofa is here. How are you, Gus?
I'm very well, thank you, Brian. Apart from the benign vertigo.
What have you been up to this week?
Well, Brian, this week I tried to cross the road at one of those pedestrian crossings that requires you to press a button. I pressed it. Nothing happened. I pressed it again, more firmly, as if authority might help. Still nothing. Meanwhile, the traffic flowed endlessly, drivers avoiding eye contact. I began to doubt the button entirely. Was it connected to anything? Or was it simply there to give pedestrians a sense of participation? Eventually, the light changed of its own accord, completely independent of my efforts. I crossed the road, but I did not feel victorious. I felt managed. I'm told that video editors have a do-nothing button on their keyboards, so that when their clients ask for stupid changes to a video project, they can press it 3 or 4 times and ask the client, "Is that better?" The answer is invariably yes.
Gus the Sofa. Time now for a brand new item, Bee Time, live from the Hive with Barry Comeover.
Thanks, Brian. I'll speak quickly. Ow! They're landing on me again. Ow! I got into beekeeping because I wanted a hobby that combined agriculture, danger, and being hated by my father. Ow! The worst part is telling people you keep bees. They immediately ask for free honey. Ow! Nobody hears I own chickens and says, "Can I have a dozen eggs?" Ow! People hear beekeeper and imagine some wise old man in linen whispering to nature. In reality, it's mostly me, ow, in a white spacesuit screaming, "No, no, not the eyes!" Bees are very judgmental creatures. They can sense fear, impatience, and apparently the fact, ow, that I once bought a jar of honey from Lidl. One bee followed me for 3 days after that. That's not instinct. Ow! That's a vendetta. And everyone you meet suddenly becomes an expert. Ow! You should stay calm around bees, they say. Oh, really? Thank you, Gandhi. Ow! I'll remember that while 12,000 poison-filled hypodermic needles are investigating my nostrils. Ow! Anyway, that's the bee situation.
Barry Combe over. My rant of the week now, an item we like to call Nuff Said.
Nuff said.
And today I'd like to discuss the almost impossible social contract of pretending to recognise people. Because adulthood turns out to be just walking around squinting politely into the middle distance. Here's the thing. Someone waves at you from across the street. You wave back immediately because not waving back could be socially catastrophic. You get a bit closer and you realise that you do not know this person. Never seen them before in your life, but now it's too late. You've committed. So you both continue approaching each other with uncertainty. Then comes the conversation. How are you? Good question. How about who are you? You start fishing for clues. How's everything? And they say, yeah, I'm still there. Still where? What have I accidentally endorsed? Then they mention a child, a dog, an office, a surgery, a divorce. And now you're trapped assembling a human being from fragments, like a detective in a battered raincoat. Meanwhile, they clearly know exactly who you are, which somehow makes it worse. You can't ask. Society has decided that this is forbidden. You're allowed to ask someone about their deepest fears. You can ask them their salary. You can ask whether they think civilization is collapsing, but you cannot say, sorry, who are you again? So instead you take a gamble. Well, say hello to everyone, you say. Everyone? You're covering all possible outcomes. Or are you? Then you walk away and 6 hours later remember it was your mother's dentist. Note to self, never talk to anyone ever. Nuff said.
Nuff said.
Now it's time to take a pause for the benefit of our collective well-being. Yes, it's colouring outside the lines with the colouring lady.
Time now for Colouring Outside the Lines with me, the colouring lady. For the next few seconds, everything you were meant to do today will wait patiently elsewhere. Well-being will be your priority instead. Before you is a line drawing of a cat looking into a mirror and a bright collection of wax crayons. The reflection of the cat does not quite match the cat, but this is not your concern. Begin colouring now. Start with the cat in the mirror. Define its boundaries, then colour the other cat. Or perhaps colour the same cat twice. The fur could be black, or perhaps a triumphant gold, like the cats in ancient Egypt. The cat's reflection is observing you with quiet admiration. 3 seconds left. And crayons down. Step back. The result is valid. Reward yourself with a plain cracker. That was this week's edition of Colouring Outside the Lines. Back to you, Brian.
Thanks to the colouring lady. Time now to play Alive, Dead or Fictional, and this week's randomly selected subject is Sir Cloudsley Shovel. Alive, dead or fictional? The answer coming up at the end of the show. Time now to summon the genie of the lava lamp.
Hello there, mortal. I am the genie of the lava lamp. I have considered your 3 wishes, Mr. Luff, and I agree to grant them. Your first wish is for your coffee to always be served at the perfect temperature, I hereby grant that wish, but it will only remain at perfect temperature for 2 minutes, after which it will be better described as iced coffee. You will feel momentarily powerful, then quickly deflated. Your second wish is to understand modern art. Granted. You will now nod thoughtfully at featureless blue canvases and whisper, "Ah, yes, capitalism." People will trust you. Nigella Lawson will be impressed by you. Your third wish is to be immune from making the young people around you cringe. Granted, you will now be able to dance on your own at weddings with fearless enthusiasm. Guests will describe you as liberated but disturbing. Your wish is my command, O Master.
The Genie of the Lava Lamp. Time now for today's horoscopes for your cat. Starting with Leo, your cat's lucky number is 412. Its lucky colour is muted ochre. Today your cat enters a period of unnecessary uncertainty. At approximately 10:14 a.m, they will stand in a doorway and believe with complete conviction that they are involved in America's Artemis space program. Do not challenge this. Later, your cat will discover a patch of sunlight and treat it as inherited land, defending it through prolonged stillness and one very strategic squirt of piss. Finally, during the early evening, your cat will have an unexpected interaction with Wayne Rooney, who will appear only long enough to compliment your cat's posture, apologise for interrupting it, and leave behind a single shop receipt for smoked fish, folded neatly into thirds. Scorpio, your cat's lucky number is 683. Your cat's lucky colour is weathered linen. The stars indicate administrative energy today. First, your cat will become convinced that one of your cupboards has developed strong opinions on dead birds, and it will inspect this cupboard repeatedly throughout the day. Around lunchtime, a foreign object under the furniture will be retrieved with enormous ceremony and then abandoned immediately upon discovery. In the afternoon, your cat will experience an unexpected interaction with comedian Jack D, who will address it formally as Your Majesty and ask about squeaky toys. Your cat will decline to answer Jack's questions by sitting with one paw folded underneath itself and looking out of the window. And Aquarius, your cat's lucky number is 907. Your cat's lucky colour is soft pebble. The constellations suggest movement without progress before noon. Your cat will enter a room, stop halfway, and appear to receive troubling but confidential news. Shortly afterwards, they will stare at a blank wall for 7 uninterrupted minutes and emerge with a mild headache. The evening will bring an unexpected interaction with Keanu Reeves, who will encounter your cat on a staircase, exchange a respectful silence, and quietly say, "Fair enough." Your cat will remember this moment forever and demonstrate that fact by never acknowledging it again. And those were your Luff Actually horoscopes for your cat. Here's Ellie Jade.
Ellie on the telly.
First up, Countdown to Midnight. A game show in which contestants must complete everyday tasks before a giant clock strikes 12, and all of their belongings are sold on eBay. Tasks include unblocking a sink and locating a Tupperware lid. Hosted by Eddie Redmayne, with intense adjudication by Rebel Wilson. Time ticks, pasta sweats, 5 stars. Next up, The Other You. A sci-fi romance in which everyone is assigned a government-approved doppelganger to attend social events they'd rather avoid. Starring Jodie Foster and Piers Morgan. Who falls in love with whom is administratively unclear. 5 stars. And finally, this week, Village of the Dads. A mockumentary about competitive fatherhood in the Cotswolds. Featuring Hugh Bonneville and a fiercely passive-aggressive Ashley Banjo. 5 stars. And that's this week's Ellie on the Telly. Back to you, Brian.
Thanks to Ellie Jade. Now here's this week's edition of Underwhelming.
Underwhelming. with Toby Finch.
Fact number 1. The average shower curtain drifts inward by less than a centimetre during use, creating a sensation of user annoyance that shower curtain analysts describe as completely unavoidable. Fact number 2. Most staplers contain one staple that bends slightly differently from the others, though this irregularity rarely affects the stapler's overall performance. Fact number 3. Standard radiator knobs rotate more smoothly in homes where no one ever adjusts them, preserving a level of mechanical confidence that ultimately serves no practical purpose. And fact number 4, many TV remote controls spend many years balanced precariously on the arms of sofas without ever actually falling off the sofa onto the floor. And that's this week's edition of Underwhelming. Back to you, Brian.
Thanks to Toby. Still to come, another new song from Sonny Keys and the band. Meanwhile, today's birthdays of people you've never heard of are Mervyn Dipple, television continuity announcer and philosopher, is 74 years old today. Beginning in regional broadcasting, he became famous for introducing TV shows while asking viewers whether programmes truly begin or merely arrive. Katarina Drift, experimental triangle soloist, turns 41 today. Her landmark album, Silence But Slightly to the Left, sold 17 copies and one accidental replacement order. Trevor Bandel, former Deputy Assistant Minister for Temporary Matters, is 62 today. He chaired 4 committees, dissolved 3 of them, and once accidentally declared a public holiday in honour of Sue Pollard. And those were today's birthdays of people you've never heard of. Here's the Whispering Fish.
I reorganised my workspace, convinced that a new arrangement would unlock a better version of me. For a moment it worked. Everything felt possible in the freshly aligned geometry of objects. Then I sat down and remembered that the same mind had followed me into this improved environment. Change is often just relocation with optimism attached. I'm a fish, by the way.
The Whispering Fish. Today's arbitrarily chosen word of the week now. Today's word is panicalorium. The fleeting yet overwhelming conviction that everybody else received written instructions for life and you somehow missed distribution day. Put the word in a sentence, Brian. All right, I will. Example 1. During the office quiz, Colin experienced acute panicalorium after discovering that his colleagues all understood what the word networking meant. Example 2. The Queen of the Fairies addressed her nation while exhibiting regal panicalorium, and then she accidentally knighted a garden gnome. And example 3. Standing at platform 9, Gerald adjusted his umbrella and realised with profound panicalorium that everyone else was wearing raincoats and hats. And that's your arbitrarily chosen word of the week. Panicalorium. Use it with gusto.
What a good way to make your day, Brian Luff.
Time now for this week's prophetic prophecy with Ophelia Zodiac.
Good day, good people. I'm Ophelia Zodiac, and here is my profligate prophecy for this week. By the year's end, grocery receipts will begin printing a single additional line beneath the total. It will read, "You will need less than you think." Shoppers will assume it's some kind of minimalist branding. A terse response from Sainsbury's will attribute it to experimental footer messaging. But the line will appear everywhere, from corner markets in Nairobi to hypermarkets in Seoul and an artisan bakery in Knightsbridge. Economists will puzzle over a subtle contraction in bulk purchases. Pantries will declutter. Freezers will exhale. A talk show host will joke that capitalism has entered therapy. Then one Saturday, receipts will add a second line, which will read, "Share one item." food banks will report modest, baffling uptick in donations. Pasta and lentils, mostly. Then within a month, the messages will cease. Totals only. Barcodes immaculate. Yet consumer confidence surveys will show something curious. A steadier baseline, less spiked by flash sales. And in a point-of-sale update, released quietly at 3:07 a.m., a comment will read, "Scarcity narrative softened. Keep your receipt, good people. It may be the best advice you read all year. I've been Ophelia Zodiac. You're very welcome."
Ophelia Zodiac. Here's Grandpa Biscuits with Back in the Day.
Back in the day, apologies were awkward affairs. You didn't post a statement. You showed up with a pie, maybe a handshake, maybe a look that said, "I know I was wrong." Folks said dumb things, sometimes harmful things, sometimes just ignorant. Sometimes they'd point a gun at you, and there weren't no neat resolutions, just time and proximity and the slow work of being around each other long enough to sand the corners down. It wasn't always fair. It wasn't always enough. But it was human. Whatever happened, you usually had to see the person you offended at the feed store the next morning. Accountability had a face, a human face. These days, you can disappear into the noise. Back then, you had to stand there while Mrs. Thompson evaluated your mortal soul over a pound of rhubarb and a chicken leg. Would you like to hear about the time I apologized to the wrong man for stealing his canoe?
Grandpa Biscuits, a man who still calls television wireless theatre. Still to come, this week's official cutlery rankings, in which a tablespoon changes everything you thought you knew about breakfast time, and today's celebrity car park review, in which Amanda Holden gives us her star rating for a multi-storey car park in Stevenage. Gentleman's Relish now, with Neville Montague.
Thank you, Brian. As you know, in each episode of your podcast, I take the opportunity to share one of my favourite hobbies with your audience. Today, an activity that has brought me considerable joy: making miniature art and furniture. Yes, precision carpentry and painting designed for what one might imagine to be borrowers or tiny folk. Imagine fashioning a Chippendale chair no larger than a thimble. There's an immense sense of satisfaction that comes from creating something so detailed, despite its diminutive size. I often sell the Chippendales online with no mention of the size. The buyers are always too embarrassed to complain or demand a refund. My copy of the Mona Lisa was a quarter the size of a postage stamp, and my Venus de Milo was eaten by mice. The real challenge lies in maintaining proportion. A table leg that's even slightly too stout can disrupt the entire aesthetic of a miniature drawing room, making it appear awkward and unbalanced. To achieve the necessary precision, I utilize tools more commonly associated with dentistry or eye surgery, allowing for meticulous craftsmanship. My proudest creation to date is a mahogany desk that opens to reveal an assortment of tiny stationery and post. I even went so far as to create a gas bill so minuscule that reading it required a microscope. There's a unique serenity found in sanding and polishing an item that fits comfortably into the palm of your hand. When working on these tiny masterpieces, the vastness of the world seems to shrink, leaving behind a realm of manageable elegance. I have recently been working on a miniature sculpture of a pygmy hippo. I will finish it as soon as I can find it.
Thanks, Neville. Gentleman's Relish will be back next week. Up next, it's Hello, this is Angela Lansbury.
Hello, this is Angela Lansbury. People often say to me, Angela, how do you maintain long-term relationships? The answer is simple: patience, big pants, and most importantly, maintenance. You cannot simply install love and then hope for monthly updates. It requires attention, regular check-ins, the occasional audit. Communication is less about grand speeches and more about small honesty. That upset me, delivered calmly, can save years of passive aggression. Also, humor is vital. If you can laugh together while assembling flat-pack furniture, you can survive most things. I call it substitutionary locomotion. Romance evolves. It becomes practical, tender, occasionally baffled. You learn each other's rhythms when others need silence. Who needs snacks? Who needs tissues? Who needs to be told explicitly that they did well reversing into that tiny parking space? Appreciation is fuel. Offer it generously, and never weaponize bedtime. That's chaos. Do you mind if I use your bathroom?
Thanks to Angela Lansbury. Exciting news. We have decided to play one last round of Name That Horse this week with Phoebe Paradox.
Hello, Brian.
Phoebe, for the past 6 weeks you've failed miserably to name that horse in the allotted time, and this week is your very last chance. Here is the horse. Once again. Good luck, Phoebe.
Thanks, Brian.
You have 15 seconds starting from now.
Is it a cart horse called Barnaby who lives in a stable near Maidstone in Kent?
Stop the clock. Yes, that is the correct answer. It is indeed a cart horse called Barnaby who lives in a stable near Maidstone in Kent. Congratulations, Phoebe.
Hurrah!
You finally win our much coveted trophy, and the game does not need to roll over for another week, which will, I'm sure, bring a huge sigh of relief to everyone involved with this podcast. Thanks for coming in, Phoebe.
Can I take the trophy home?
No.
Oh.
Well, that's it, Sensation Seekers. Our time's up for yet another week. That was Luff Actually with me, Brian Luff, in which we learnt that today's designated emotion was curious unease. The answer to this week's Before They Were Them was Rod Stewart. Yes, before becoming famous, he worked as an ice cream seller, a hospital porter, and briefly in what he describes as a funeral-related role. Speaking of which, the answer to today's alive, dead or fictional was Sir Cloudsley Shovel. Dead. He was an English naval commander born in 1650, famous for victories at sea and for being dramatically unsuccessful and avoiding rocks. His entire fleet was wrecked near the Isles of Scilly in 1707 after a navigation disaster. An unusually splendid and entirely unfictional name, Sir Cloudsley Shovel. Well done if you got that right, but no prize for you. Before we go, just enough time for All You Need Is Luff, and my deep and meaningful thought of the week this week is: if life is a journey, nobody remembered to explain to us the rules about going around roundabout. See you next time. Bye-bye, Apple Pie. And I'll leave you with another brand new song from Sonny Keys and the Flat Notes. It's the title track of their forthcoming album, Souvenirs and Sabotage.
Your coat across a chair, like you were stepping out for air. And every smart device is smart. It's not the win, it's the taking part. A coffee ring and a train ticket, a note that said don't overthink it. Funny how the heart responds and pulls apart the strongest bond. Every fracture, every scar, I know exactly who you are. Memories dressed in camouflage, souvenirs and sabotage. Your shadow read the room so well. sabotage. Stealing peace, now I am ready for release. Turning relics into chains, I call betrayal by your name. You left your coat across a chair, like you were stepping out for air. Not every ending needs a start, it's not the win, it's the taking part. You were on time and I was late, there was no contract to backdate. Taking part and taking charge, souvenirs and sabotage. Every fracture, every scar, I know exactly who you are. Memories dressed in camouflage, souvenirs and sabotage.
Luff Actually was written and presented by Brian Luff, and he also composed all the music, which was performed by Sonny Keys and the Flat Notes. This week's podcast featured Gus the Sofa, The Whispering Fish, Toby Finch, Ellie Jade, Barry Comb Over, The Coloring Lady, Ophelia Zodiac, Grandpa Biscuits, Neville Montague, Phoebe Paradox, The Genie of the Lava Lamp, and special guest Angela Lansbury. The announcer was Mr. Downtown Don Vale. Luff Actually was produced by Georgina Sowerby and Brian Luff. Voice and music technology by 11 Labs. All celebrity voices were impersonated. Luff Actually was recorded at the Broadway Radio Theater and post-produced at the Production Village for Studio Senseless. Say hello. We'd love to hear from you. Email brian@theproductionvillage.com. I'm Tex Magnum.